네, 오늘은 중간님의 사랑을 받고 힘을 내서 자, Little Brother by Cory Doctorow. 평소처럼 이제 그 커피라이트는 다 밑에 있고요. Creative Commons Attribution Non-Commercial Share Alike 3.0 라이선스입니다. 네, 일단 챕터를 찾읍시다. 챕터 2. 중간님이 괴로워하는 것을 보면서 읽어야지. 어머나, 내가 챕터 3까지 내려갔네? 20까지 내려갔네? 오케이, 챕터 2. 데디케이션은 스킵하고요. 어차피 아마존이니까. I'm thinking of majoring in physics when I go to Berkeley, Daryl said. His dad taught at the University of California at Berkeley, which meant he'll get free tuition when he went. Oh man, that's so enviable. I want free tuition. And there have never been any questions in Daryl's household about where he would go. Fine, but couldn't you research it online? My dad said I should read it. Besides, I didn't plan on committing any crimes today. Skipping school isn't a crime, it's an infraction. They're totally different. What are we going to do, Marcus? Well, I can't hide it, so I'm going to have to nuke it. Killing orphans is a dark art. No merchant wants malicious customers going for a walk around the shop floor and leaving behind a bunch of robotomized merchandise that is missing its invisible barcode, so the manufacturers have refused to implement a kill signal that you can radio to an RFID to get it to switch off. You can reprogram RFIDs with the right box, but I hate doing that to library books. It's not exactly tearing pages out of a book, but it's still bad, since a book with a reprogrammed RFID can't be shelved and can't be found. It just becomes a needle in a haystack. That left me with only one option. Nuking the thing. Literally. 30 seconds in the microwave would do in pretty much every RFID on the market. And because the RFID wouldn't answer at all when Dee checked it back in at the library, they'd just print a fresh one for it and recode it with the book's catalog info. And it would end up clean and neat back on its shelf. All we needed was a microwave. Give it another 2 minutes and the teacher's lounge will be empty, I said. Dale grabbed his books and headed for the door. Forget it. No way. I'm going to class. I snagged his elbow and dragged him back. Come on, Dee. Easy now. It'll be fine. The teacher's lounge? Maybe you weren't listening, Marcus. If I get busted just once more, I am expelled. You hear that? Expelled. You won't get caught, I said. The one place a teacher wouldn't be after this period was the lounge. We'll go in the back anyway. The back way. The lounge had a little kitchenette off to one side with its own entrance for teachers who just wanted to pop in and get a cup of joe. The microwave, which always reeked of popcorn and spilled soup, was right in there on top of the miniature fridge. 안녕하세요. 네, 새로 오시네요. 네, 지금 Little Brother by Cory Doctorow 읽고 있습니다. 네. 아, 참고로 이거 유튜브에 올라가요. 올려야 된대요. 에휴. 네. Dale groaned. I thought fast. Look, the bell's already rung. If you go to study hall now, you get a late slip. Better not to show at all at this point. I can infiltrate and exfiltrate any room on this canvas. You see me do it. I'll keep you safe, bro. He groaned again. That was one of Daryl's tells. Once he starts groaning, he's ready to give in. Let's roll, I said, and we took off. It was flawless. We skirted the classrooms, took the back stairs into the basement, and came up the front stairs right in front of the teacher's lounge. Not a sound came from the door, and I quickly turned the knob and dragged Daryl in before silently closing the door. 눈이 너무 침침해가지고 잘 안 보여. 내 나이가 눈이 너무 침침해. 내가 어디까지 읽었죠? The book just barely fit in the microwave, which was looking even less sanitary than it had the last time I'd pop in here to use it. I concisely wrapped it in paper towels before I set it down. Man, teachers are pigs, I hissed. Daryl, white-faced and tense, said nothing. The outfit died in a shower of sparks, which was really quite lovely, but not as nearly as pretty as the effect you get when you nuke a frozen grape, which has to be seen to be believed. Now, to exfoliate the campus in perfect anonymity and make our escape. Daryl opened the door and began to move out, me on his heels. Okay, that was really wrong. Alright, let me read that again. Daryl opened the door and began to move out, me on his heels. A second later, he was standing on my toes, elbows jammed into my chest as he tried to backpedal into the closet-side kitchen we just left. 아, kitchen을 치킨이라고 읽어버렸어. Get back, he whispered urgently. Quick, it's Charles. Charles Walker and I don't get along. We're in the same grade, and we've known each other as long as I've known Daryl, but that's where the resemblance ends. Charles has always been big for his age, and now that he's playing football on the Jews, he's even bigger. He's got anger management problems. I lost a milk tooth to him in the 3rd grade, and he's managed to keep from getting in trouble over them by becoming the most active snitch in school. 저도 치킨 먹고 싶습니다. Chicken. It's a bad combination. A bully who also snitches, taking great pleasure in going to the teachers with whatever infractions he's found. Benson loved Charles. Charles liked to let on that he had some kind of unspecified bladder problem, which gave him a ready-made excuse to prowl the hallways as Chavez, looking for people to think on. The last time Charles had caught some dirt on me, it had ended with me giving up LARPing. I had no intention of being caught by him again. What's he doing? He's coming this way is what he's doing, Daryl said. He was shaking. Okay, I said. Okay, time for emergency countermeasures. I got my phone out. I planned this well in advance. Charles will never get me again. I emailed my server at home and it got into motion. A few seconds later, Charles's phone spazzed out spectacularly. I would had tens of thousands of simultaneous random calls and text messages sent to it, causing every chirp and ring it had to go off and keep on going off. The attack was accomplished by means of a botnet, and for that I felt bad, but it was in the service of a good cause. Oh, you sweetheart. Botnets are where infected computers spend their afterlives. When you get a worm or a virus, your computer sends a message to a chat channel on IRC, the Internet Relay Chat. That message tells the botmaster, the guy who deployed the worm, that the computers are there ready to do his bidding. Botnets are supremely powerful since they can compromise thousands, even hundreds of thousands of computers scattered all over the internet, connected to juicy high-speed connections and running on fast home PCs. Those PCs normally function on behalf of their owners, but when the boatmaster calls them, they rise like zombies to do his bidding. There are so many infected PCs on the internet that the price of hiring an hour or two on a botnet has crashed. Mostly, these things work for spammers as cheap, distributed spam bots, filling your mailbox with commons for boner pills or with new viruses that can infect you and recruit your machine to join the botnet. I just rented 10 seconds time on 3,000 PCs and had each of them send a text message or a voice over IP call to Charles's phone, whose number I'd extracted from a sticky note on Benson's desk during one fateful office visit. Needless to say, Charles's phone was not equipped to handle this. First, the SMSs filled the memory on his phone, causing it to start choking on the routine operations it needed to do things like manage the ringer and log all those incoming calls' bogus return numbers. Did you know that it's really easy to fake the return number on a caller ID? There are about 50 ways of doing it. Just Google spoof caller ID. Charles stared at it dumbfounded and jabbed at it furiously, his thick eyebrows nodding and wiggling as he struggled with the demons that had possessed his most personal of devices. The plan was working so far, but he wasn't doing what he was supposed to be doing next. He was supposed to go find some place to sit down and try to figure out how to get his phone back. Daryl shook me by the shoulder, and I pulled my eye away from the crack in the door. What's he doing? Daryl whispered. I totaled his phone, but he's just staring at now, and staring at now instead of moving on. It wasn't going to be easy to reboot that thing. Once the memory was totally filled, it would have a hard time loading the code it needed to delete the bogus messages. And there was no bulk erase for text on his phone, so he'd have to manually delete all of the thousands of messages. Dale shoved me back and stuck his eye to the door. A moment later, his shoulders started to shake. I got scared, thinking he was panicking, but when he pulled back, I saw that he was laughing so hard that tears were streaming down his cheeks. Galvez just totally busted it for being in the halls during class and for having his phone out. You should have seen her tear into him. She really was enjoying it. We shook hands solemnly and snuck back out of the corridor, down the stairs, around the back, out of the door, past the fence, and out into the glorious sunlight of afternoon in the Mission. Valencia Street had never looked so good. I checked my watch and yelled, "Let's move, the rest of the gang is meeting us at the cable cars in 20 minutes. 아이고. 자, 더 남았어요. 어제 안 읽어가지고 오늘 2개 읽어야 돼요. 챕터 아직 끝나지도 않았어요. 아유, 잠깐 물 좀. Van spotted us first. She was blending in with a group of Korean tourists, which is one of her favorite ways of camouflaging herself when she's ditching school. Ever since the Chauncey moblog went live, our world is full of nosy shopkeepers and pecksniffs who take it upon themselves to snap our pixies. I am so confused as to how to pronounce this word. I've never seen this word before. Like, never. This is new. Anyways. And put them on the net where they can be perused by school administrators. She came out of the crowd and bounded towards us. Daryl has had a thing for Van since forever, and she's sweet enough to pretend she doesn't know it. She gave me a hug and then moved on to Daryl, giving him a quick sisterly kiss on the cheek that made him go red to the tops of his ears. Aw, how cute. The two of them made a funny pair. Daryl is a little on the heavy side, though he wears it well, and he's got a kind of pink complexion that goes red in the cheeks whenever he runs or gets excited. He's been able to grow a beard since we were 14, but thankfully he started shaving after a brief period known to our gang as the Lincoln years. And he's tall. Very, very tall, like basketball player tall. Meanwhile, Van is half a head shorter than me and skinny, with striped black hair that she wears in crazy elaborate braids that she researches on the net. She's got pretty coppery skin and dark eyes, and she loves big glass rings the size of radishes, which click and clack together when she dances. "Where's Jolo?" she said. "How are you, Van?" Daryl asked in a choked voice. He always ran a step behind the conversation when it came to Van. "I'm great, Dee. How's your every little thing?" Oh, she was a bad person. Daryl nearly fainted. Jolo saved him from social disgrace by showing up just then, in an oversized leather baseball jacket, sharp sneakers, and a mashback cap advertising our favorite Mexican masked wrestler, El Santo Jr. Jolo is Jose Luis Torres, the completing member of our foursome. He went to a super strict Catholic school in the outer Richmond, so it wasn't easy for him to get out. But he always did. No one exfiltrated like our Jolo. Would that be Holu or Jolo? Spanish, so I'll go Holu. He liked his jacket because it hung down low, which was pretty stylish in parts of the city, and covered up all his Catholic school crap, which was like a bullseye for nosy jerks with the Chauncey moblog bookmarked on their phones. "Who's ready to go?" I asked. Once we'd all said hello, I pulled out my phone and showed them the map I downloaded to it on the BART. Near as I can work out, we want to go up to the Nico again, and then one block past it to Old Farrell, then left up towards Van Nuys. Somewhere in there we should find the wireless signal. Van made a face. That's a nasty part of the Tenderloin. I couldn't argue with her. The part of San Francisco is one of the weird bits. You go through the Hilton's front entrance and it's all touristy stuff like the cable car turnaround and family restaurants. Go through the other side and you're in the loin, where every tracked out transvestite hooker, hard case pimp, hissing drug dealer, and cracked up homeless person in town was concentrated. What they bought and sold, none of us were old enough to be a part of it. I thought there were plenty of hookers our age, playing their trade in the line. Look on the bright side, I said. The only time you want to go up around there is broad daylight. None of the other players are going to go near it until tomorrow at the earliest. This is what we in the ARG business call a monster head start. Holo grinned at me. You make it sound like a good thing, he said. It's eating uni, I said. We going to talk or are we going to win? Van said. After me, she was hands down the most hardcore player in our group. She took winning very, very seriously. We struck out, for good friends, on our way to Dakota Clue, win the game and lose everything we cared about. Forever. Good. 오, 20분 이하다. 와. 어째 가면 갈수록 발음이 더 안 좋아지냐? 혀가 살찌고 있는 건가? 살찌고 있는 거야? 감사합니다. 아, 꺼야지.